I became a homeowner 2 years ago when I bought this condo, and that was one of the best things that ever happened in my life. But with that came some unforeseen consequences that I didn't see coming, hence why it's unforeseen. And here is one of those consequences. I'll let you listen for it. Can you hear it? Here, I'll show you. It's that. You see that leak? This is my living room and dining area. This is the big, beautiful window that lets all the light in, except now we're dealing with some leakage. This sucks. This is totally no bueno because you see, like, the whole thing is separating from the wall. Water is getting behind the wall, and that could lead to mold. And look at this right here. There's ice inside, like between the screen. And look at how much this is dripping. I am getting a lot of anxiety for this. It's literally getting worse by the minute. Over the weekend, we got one of the biggest storms that we've ever gotten in Connecticut in a long time. Literally, we got like 18 inches of snow in less than 24 hours. The result of that is giant piles of snow. And in our case, in my little condo, is also ice and melting ice. That is the condition of the gutter over my entryway, which is causing all of this ice to accumulate at the corner of the window. And if you could tell, right there, that's where all the water is going into the house. Look at that. Let's see if we can get a closer look. Can you see that? Can you see that? At first, I ignored it because I didn't think it was actually gonna turn into a problem. I just saw the ice piled up and, you know, for reasons unknown, just thought it was gonna go away on its own and it was not gonna bother me. I did, however, try to break the ice yesterday because I just thought it would be cool. Okay, I'm sure this is a terrible idea, but it has to be done. Oh God! There's a light well over there. This is not working out the way I thought it would. But today, I realized that it's actually a problem and it could potentially turn into mold and all these sorts of issues. So now we actually have to be adults and deal with it. But obviously, we're not gonna do this in the most safe, responsible, and adult way. We're probably gonna do it in a more chaotic and sporadic sort of way. Hopefully also a little entertaining. We're gonna be a little safe though. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? So, that's the leader coming down from the main roof, and then it landed on this snow that froze because it was never cleared after it snowed, so it just turned into ice. So now because of that, the water just runs off the top of the ice, forms ice over here, then falls on top of the window. The big problem is that this little channel right here is where the water is collecting. Can you see it? Yep. So the ice builds up on top of this little shelf on top of the window, and because it's sitting there for so long and the water can't just like run off the side of the window, it's finding a way down somehow because water follows gravity. And if it can't go down and out, it's gonna go in and out, which is what we're dealing with on the inside. I'm probably a little over my head right now, to be honest. But realistically, this is not a problem I'm gonna solve, you know, today. I think we could put a Band-Aid on it, a messy little Band-Aid, but we're gonna have to wait until all this ice melts in order to really fix the problem, which is the gutter. And next time it snows, shoveling or removing the snow off of the roof before it turns into a big ice dam. So what I'm gonna try to do is break off as much of the ice on top of the window as possible, and that's all I have planned so far. There's no way I'm gonna win. Maybe we caught a break. Okay, let's see if this helps. Woo! All right, this is promising. I think if we can eliminate the ice on top of the roof, that'll definitely help a lot. And I'm actually starting to be a little bit more hopeful that I might be able to clear all of this ice. This is a giant piece of ice. Starting to feel like I'm the Titanic and that's the iceberg that could take me out. But I'll do anything to save my house. Okay, we take that one out. Easy peasy, little iceberg. Update. The roof is clear, but the gutter is still iced over, and there's no way that we're gonna be able to clean the gutter and take all this ice out. It's just too crazy. And even if we did, you see that leader? That's also all frozen over. So even if the gutter is clean, when the water reaches the end, it's just gonna pile up. I'm thinking that if I can free up the screen from all the ice and pull the screen off, that's also gonna help with the drainage of the water and from the water getting inside the house. So if we can't at least take the ice off the screen, the least that we could do is clean the ice that's inside the window. Removing the screen from the outside was impossible. But what if we try from the inside? Is it working? I have no idea. Does it smell really funny? Absolutely. This is never gonna work. This is crazy, dude. It's literally just frozen solid ice. Like, all of this is just frozen. I keep thinking that my HOA is gonna be really mad at me for this, and I don't know why. That's a huge success. So now that we got the screen off, I was able to clean the windowsill and there's no more big ice buildup. So that's one problem solved. But that's useless if we can't get this water drippage to stay away from the window. And since we can't clear off all of the ice that's up there, we gotta go to Home Depot and find another solution. I think either this or this might do the trick. So let's take both. Okay, now that we have our piece of flashing, I'm gonna try to wedge it between the gutter and the siding to push the water away in the direction that we want. Maybe I gotta clear some of this ice first. This might work. Now one piece won't be enough, so we got more. So there was actually scissors appropriately designed for this kind of stuff. And it was right next to this when I bought it. But I figured these will do. We're losing daylight really quick, but I think this will do the trick. So we gotta slide this behind the other one. Did it. It doesn't look pretty. It actually looks awful, but it's doing the job. So don't come for me in the comments. This is temporary to prevent my house from overflowing with water. Here is the solution. So that's the flashing. So we have the first piece that goes behind the gutter and then another piece that goes between the two pieces of flashing. The water has nowhere to go but to hit the first piece of flashing, run down, hit the second piece of flashing, and make its way all the way down. As you can see here, the flashing is over the window, so there's no way for the water to get behind the window. And as it's being demonstrated by the water coming down from it, I think we're successful. There's still water coming down all the way over here, but none of that water is being piled up inside behind the window. So I think we did it. It's been 2 full days since we fixed our roof. So let's go check it and see how it's holding up. Off the bat, it's still pretty icy, but I think we're in good shape. As you can tell, there's barely any snow or ice on the roof. Most of it is built up from the giant ice dam that was in the gutter a while back. The water is melting like crazy and the icicles are still building up, which is not something that we're gonna be able to prevent right now. And there's still a ton of ice on the floor and on the steps. I threw some rock salt just so that it's a little bit safer, but that's not the problem that we're gonna fix right away. The good news is that where the icicles are building is not gonna cause damage. Let's go take a closer look. All right, as we can tell, there's still a ton of ice. The good thing, it is melting. So hopefully before we get the other big storm, we might get this under control. But the really good thing is that it's working. The flashing is preventing the ice from getting behind the window and into the house. Let me show you. So crazy icicles over there. It's all melting, making its way in front of the flashing and going all the way down. But when we look at this, look, there's no ice back there. Before, this was all filled with ice. And that is what was causing the problem, and that is the water that was going inside. Important thing, I think we should take the icicles down and break them to prevent it from building up and getting worse. Now let's hope that in doing that, we're not gonna undo all of our work. Okay, great. The icicles aren't the problem, but did I really fix the problem inside? Let me show you. Here we go. This is the inside of the window. This is the windowsill, and as we can tell, it is dry. The floor is dry. There's a tiny bit of ice buildup right here on the outside once we remove the screen, but all in all, it's all dry. All of that is just damage from before, but it's dry. I'm confident this is gonna hold up until the end of the winter, or at least until this snow melts and I can figure something else out. So if you enjoyed that kind of shenanigans, make sure you follow and stay tuned for the other crazy stuff that I end up doing. Hope you all have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out and never stop creating.